now listening to Vigilantes Radio, presented by the Only One Media Group. This is the people's choice for quality interviews, celebrities, and special guests. Hosted by Demetrius Dinny Reynolds. Call in to join the mix at 701-801-9813. For the complete archive of episodes, visit onlyonemediagroup.com and be sure to like us on Facebook at Vigilantes Radio. We welcome all. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. Enjoy the show.
What's up, guys? Again, thank you for hanging out with us this morning. It means the world to me and my cup of joe. Anyhow, I hope your day is wonderful, and I appreciate you guys for sticking around. We have another special guest, so make sure you share the information with your buddies. You could text your family members or even share it on social media right now and let them know that we are about to dive deep and into another interview. And by the way, you're listening to VRL, that's Vigilantes Radio, live on iHeartRadio. Do you have enough time to accomplish all that you would like to get done? Yes, in fact, you do. When you have the willingness, when you have the commitment, then you can find the time. For time continues to come to you, and you will always make use of it accordance with your most genuine priorities. Unless you have Black Ops 6 or you're back to playing Battlefield 1. You'll find the time to do the things that matter. If it seems there is not enough time, take an honest look at where the time is going. Plenty of time is coming to you, moment after valuable moment. Look at what you're doing with those moments. Look at how you use your time, and you will see precisely how you have arranged your priorities. If you don't like what you see, you have the option to change those priorities, and when you do, the way you use your time will change as well. Yeah, it's a phenomenal idea. If there's not enough time, you have the power to make time available by clearly understanding and adjusting your real priorities. By truly being aware of where your time goes and why, you'll see that you do indeed have all the time you need. My name is Coach Dini, and change is possible. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Well, let's go. Let's go. What's up, guys? Again, you're listening to VRL. That's Vigilantes Radio, live right here on iHeartRadio. And I am your host, Dini. Our interviews are designed to go beyond music, news, books, art, acting, films, technology, education, entrepreneurship, entertainment, spirituality, and sometimes even past that thing that we call the ego. Our interviews are designed to go behind the scenes and into the minds of these awesome human beings. You know, the ones who are out there giving it their all for me, for you, and for the world. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today is not just an actor. He's a true light bearer. Born with the mission stitched into his soul, Tyler Ray Mitchell has dedicated his life to unlocking human potential, healing hearts, and inspiring transformation. From martial arts to mysticism, from poetry to psycho-spiritual empowerment, Tyler reminds us that the work we do on ourselves ripples out into the world. So it's time to dive into wisdom, courage, and radical love. Please join me in saying welcome, friend, to Tyler Ray Mitchell. Hey, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's good to be here. Appreciate it.
All right, man. How's it going? Welcome to the show once again. Tyler, with everything that you teach, write, and embody, what has been resonating deepest in your heart lately?
Last night I was thinking about, what am I going to talk about on the show, like what's really hitting me, and how can I sum up all the things that I do. And the one thing that really hit me last night was the power of the ordinary person. And it's important to recognize all my work represents that, coming from nothing to becoming somebody who's humble and gives back. And whether that's through mission work, through my writings, through my music, through my love with my students, I try to give it my all in everything that I'm doing. In other words, if I'm going to make it, there's no enlightenment outside of everyday life. So I make my life my message.
Indeed, indeed. The power of being ordinary, like where do you start with that?
Well, it starts with, like my book talks about, it starts with the prima materia, the person when they're first born. In the womb of their mother, it actually starts there, even before the womb of the mother, but it starts in the womb of the mother when the individual develops the powers for this world, develops the 5 senses so it can function. And then when it's born into this world, I think that a person's here to develop their powers for the next life. So I think it starts before utero. That's what I would say.
Who's responsible for that start?
I like the way the indigenous people look at it. They call it the great mystery. I always tell people, my little joke is, I fell from heaven, but I don't know how I got here, and I don't know what the mission is. So then I can't mess it up. It's called a double bind. Most science experiments are most effective when the experimenter doesn't know what's happening and the experimentee doesn't know what's happening. That there's an omniscient point of view behind the scenes.
Indeed, indeed. Man, your life is filled with so many disciplines. Martial arts, music, healing, writing. When did you realize these weren't in separate paths, but one great work?
Think about the word for great work in alchemy is called the magnum opus. And I think about that, what I think is that I see the universality in all things. I could see how everything's connected, even from a young age. What people called spirits, what people called God, what people called all these things, I just saw it as one thing. And so I think that we're given the gift to be able to express our love for each other and our love for humanity through billions of different conduits, whether that's art, music, family development, even making some bread for a friend. And so none of these things to me are different. I look at it all as a universal way of expressing our gratitude for our life here on the planet, and our works is that.
Indeed. How did you get to this point that you are now? Like, take us back to the beginning.
Well, I remember, I can go way back since I was probably 4 years old.
Okay.
I can remember feeling a presence that I wasn't sure exactly what it was, but it was something that was looking over me. Some people might call it an angel, other people might call it God. It was always a mystery and still is a mystery to me. And I would be inspired. If someone was hurting, if someone needed help, I would just get a little Jiminy Cricket voice in my head and like, hey, go over there, do something about it. I developed altruism at a very young age. And I took that with me wherever I went. And as I grow in my altruism, I become more active in my life world, like doing things to help people out. So I think it started as probably early as 4 years old, yeah.
Man, what do you think activated that in 4-year-old Tyler?
I think that human beings have a natural drive to serve. I think that we are created that way. And there's some theories out there that say that we were created to mine gold for aliens and there's all kinds of beautiful theories out there. But whatever the impulse is to serve, I don't know what it is, but I would say it's an impulse to serve we were created not by ourselves so that we can serve a purpose greater than ourselves. And so I would say that it's the impulse to serve that's in every person. And when we suppress that impulse, we start to develop diseases, and we develop mental contortions that create an alternate reality for ourselves. Meaning, like, we create diseases in our body when we're not contributing to, I think, what the soul nature is, to grow and learn and to serve.
Absolutely. And that goes hand in hand with your book, The Great Work. Because we have a duty as people, to be kind, to be helpful, to be a servant, you know. I think life would be a lot easier if we loved each other, truly.
Yeah, and recently one of my discoveries, I agree with that completely. One of my main inspirations for the book that I wrote was from the Baha'i faith, and it was founded by Baha'u'llah and his predecessor Abdul Baha. But he says that the most great work is love of humanity, and that he says that love is the force that moves the planets. He even goes as far as saying basically love is gravity. That actually love is not irrational. It's actually a very rational thing. If people can get with it, it's rational to take care of our brothers and our sisters. It's natural to look out for somebody that needs it. Like I said, I think it's an impulse that if we act on it, we can start growing that muscle of altruism.
Indeed. Have you had any encounters with the great mystery?
I'd say I have many encounters with the great mystery. I see it in my everyday life. If a light just hits something the right way sometimes. When I look into the eyes of people, you know, because it's a mystery, the closest thing I have to real reality is a human being.
Yeah.
Because of this, I have no choice, in a sense, to see God in everything and everyone when I look into their eyes.
Yeah.
And so seeing that, you can help people grow and develop as a teacher and as a mentor. That's something that I do that's an effective strategy, is don't focus on the things that are negative, but rather focus on their strengths and help them strengthen the things that are already strong, and then slowly those weaknesses start to fade away.
Indeed, indeed. Does it give you chill bumps sometimes?
Oh man, all the time. Man, I could have wrote Goosebumps, I'm telling you.
All the time, man. It's a phenomenal feeling.
Yeah, the chills are real, man. The chills are real.
They're real. That's why I asked.
You know, the nervous system, I think, is half spiritual, half physical. I think because of vibration and frequency, you know, any musician will tell you there's moments, you know, I'm sure you've had it, where things just come through, that source of inspiration hits you, your hair stand up on your arm, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're in a different place.
Yeah.
And so music, for me, comes from a different world. It comes from the world of the abstract world, the world of thought, the world of spirit. And so when we're sharing our spirit through our breath, I think that we're doing a very spiritual thing. And that's why it's important for us to be mindful about how we speak to each other, but also additionally be mindful about sharing our true selves with people, whatever that truth is at the time. For me, I'm always unfolding. My truth in my life is dynamic. It's always changing and growing.
You say the work we do on ourselves is a gift to others. I believe that as well. Is there a moment in your personal journey that showed you this, and that self-work actually ripples outward?
Yeah, that verse for me, when it really hit me, was while I was actually writing the book. That wasn't one of my one-liners. I actually developed that while writing, and I thought about the audience that I was writing to. And I noticed in my life personally, through my experiences and people that I've met, is people are afraid to step into their power. Whether it's suppression from organized structures, or suppression from their families, suppression from their friends, their parents, and these types of things. So the culture has a lot of barriers on self-development, and that's why I try to focus on psychospiritual therapies to help people recognize that, which really translates to sharing good vibes, really. I mean, these are all fancy words, but there's words that translate, you know. Yeah. And so for me, it hit me while I was writing, and I'm like, I want to address those people that have been suppressed from these systems, these organized structures of suppression, and give them a mantra to hold on to that rids them from guilt and shame and empowers them, in a sense, to remember who they really were, you know, before the womb of their mother, you know, their spirit. And this is something that I think that is suppressed fervently from the culture.
Yeah, I believe you, and I always come back to the question of why.
Well, you know, if everybody stepped into their power, I think the world would look a lot different than it does today.
Yeah.
I think that people, this whole divide and conquer scheme that they're putting out towards people, I think that truth is a spectrum for the most part, but there are some universal truths that are hard to go against, and that's love, altruism, and that we're spirit. And so, and that there's a mystery out there that we can't solve. So we should be working on developing our powers and trying to solve this mystery of who we are and why we showed up here in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we spent more time doing that through self-discovery, and Plato said, know thyself. That was like the premise of his mystery schools. And what I thought was interesting, before you gained access into the mystery schools, you had to spend 5 years in silence.
Mm.
And so this is interesting. I think that we don't spend a lot of time with our thoughts, and we do a lot of things that have been created for our benefit, but also against our benefit, to be alone with ourselves, to really get to know who we are and what we are.
That's right. Tyler, you introduce alchemy in a beginner-friendly way in the book. And for someone brand new, I won't say, when I think of alchemy, I think of like Full Metal Alchemist. Oh no, I'm going to lose my body, become a tin can, and lose a limb. I don't want to do that.
Hey.
I get that a lot when you mention alchemy. But you made it easy to understand. For someone brand new, how would you explain spiritual alchemy in 1 or 2 sentences?
I would say that line, the work we do on ourselves is our gifts to others. It's the idea of turning leaden conduct into golden individualism through understanding what's good or what's bad for you as an individual.
Man, can you take that further?
And by knowing what's good or bad for you, you can start making the right choices to empower yourself through health and making yourself healthy, whether that's mentally, physically, and spiritually. And so the alchemists were really into turning lead into gold. It was an obsession. And there's some really good books on this, Becoming Gold by Julia, I think it's Grundy. I might be messing up the last name there. But anyway, she talks about how like making golden idols and statues from gold was a sacred practice for people. That the art only rang true as a real thing if the person in their own heart was doing it in a spirit of purity. So it's about purifying the leaden conduct in us, the things that weigh us down, and turning it into something that's beautiful, something that is illuminating, something that has like aura and that people can see. And you could see this by the golden halos that are put on the iconic religious paintings and sculptures, that this illuminating yellow light represents this gold hue that can be acquired through developing purity and working on our character.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to talk directly to the listeners. I believe this book is the great work. It's self-development. I think it's our responsibility, like Tyler stands for, is to be better humans. I mean, look around. Look around at the world right now. No, don't you think it's time to be a better human? Tyler, there is a stigma around self-development. You know, why do you think people fear change or resist that process? You know, you could go to the gyms like, oh, look at him trying to be better. Look at him going to the gym, eating healthy. Is that happiness on your face, bro? Get that happiness and satisfaction off your face. You know, stuff like that. But why do you think people fear these things? And how can we make it more applicable and practical?
Well, I'd like to address your first point on health and wellness, focusing on physical health and wellness. I told my friend the other day that I saw a skinny guy got hit by a truck. Ooh. So, focusing on just one aspect of a person and not giving ourselves a little bit of leeway to enjoy being a human being, I would say everything in moderation.
Yeah.
But I would also say that self-development and the stigma is because of what happens when people step into their power. They become magnets. And when they become magnets, people don't want all that attention. Actually, they might have not spent enough time paying attention to their own selves. So when they have all these eyeballs looking at them, they're like, oh man, I'm now accountable for everything that I'm doing. So
no, I'm a role model.
Right, like, oh no, now I gotta worry about what I'm doing behind closed doors. And and that, for me, that level of accountability is where we all should be striving for. But I also know people, on the other hand, that they're afraid to step into their power because they're afraid to give up the things that don't make them well. And when as a Reiki practitioner, when I work with people, I don't work with people, the first thing I tell them is, hey, are you willing to give up the things that make you sick? And I say that sternly. And they say no. I said, well, come back when you are. So we're not willing to give up the things that make us sick. So.
Yeah. Wow. And giving things up. I don't know, man. We as humans just become collector of things, whether it's physical or mental or, spiritual. We have these bags of things that we like to take around for some reason. Being a practitioner of Reiki, healing is central to your work. Has that shifted how you view human pain and human potential?
Yeah, actually, we have, at the place I work, we got a guy. He always says this. He'll sing really loud, and he goes, "My joy is my pain." But he sings like so beautifully, and you can feel when he sings. So, thinking about, there's a verse that is coming to mind from Baha'u'llah. He says, "With fire we test the gold, and with gold we test our servants." So these things that we're amassing and accumulating is a really old human habit, and it's a false sense of security. And here's a small story that describes that. There was a great king, and he wanted to show all the alchemists all the gold he's acquired, and the alchemists were very pleased. They're like, "Oh wow, look how awesome this gold is." A peasant comes into the room that's full of gold, and he says, "It's a shame that someone with more iron could take all of this gold from you." And so we amass all these things that we think have value. We've taken the value of the human being and I think have denigrated it. A diamond ring is more important than a human being. Gold is more important than a human being. We prioritize amassing wealth in the hopes that we can use it to help people. I know there's people that are like that are out there, but really, look about our ancestors. They would sit around a fire. They had a fire going, and they would talk all night. They would share their spirit, share their light with each other amongst the heat and warmth. So all these things that we've amassed, I think, honestly, comes from, if you look at geopolitics, comes from the core periphery model, the infinite growth model, that we got to do better next year, we got to do better next year, we got to do better next year. And today's Saturday, and it's you think about Sonic the Hedgehog, everyone's out there trying to collect them rings, but one of the little characters come by and plop you. Guess what happens? You gotta drop them. You drop them on, and you gotta pick up the ones you can before they fade away. And this is kind of like our lives here, through this model that we're living. I'm not against this model, but what I'm saying is there's better ways that we could use this model to put the human being in the right position as far as hierarchy and needs, meeting the needs of the humans.
Yeah, I feel that, man. Just a month ago, I was Sonic and got hit by one of those little guys and had to go chase my rings before they disappeared. So, on a personal level, when you hit low moments, are there any specific practices or mindsets that help you reset and recenter?
Man, I get out of my own way. I go serve. Right now, I'm a math tutor, and I'm teaching students at a middle school right now. And working with children, like investing in the youth, is one way that I get out of my own way. I'll write them a letter. I'll write them something positive about themselves. Alchemy is all about taking something that's negative and turning it into something positive. When we have a brain and a heart, the functions of this, we could train our brain and heart for these functions. And so for me, I get out of my own way and I start serving. Or, like a lot of artists and poets, I start writing. Sometimes I'll play music. Sometimes it's just I need to regulate my nervous system. I'll get on the guitar, sing some praise and worship songs, whatever's coming to mind at the time. And sometimes some of my greatest music comes from those low points. So using those moments and turning them into something beautiful, taking that energy that you're already feeling and turning it into something good.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. What are you doing when you do things like that? Are you rewiring your heart or brain?
Well, what I was reading recently is that according to Heart Math Institute, which is I think it's a really cool place to learn about stuff. They're doing some really cool stuff. Greg Braden and some other guys are really into this. But they're saying that the heart sends more messages to the brain than the brain does the heart. Well, this is interesting. This shows that maybe we don't have the wiring, or we don't have the skills to translate what the heart's telling us. So development of skills is what I spend on my off time. You know, when I'm just got some low time, I'll work on developing my skills, work on how can I turn this into something beautiful. What are some strategies? For me, it's now natural. You know, I think about, the Vietnam War era where people were taking flowers and putting them into the muzzles of people's weapons, and I think about if love is a more powerful force, then we need to use that power of love to give ourselves logical reasons to transform this negative feeling into something beautiful. So what I'm doing is I'm using logic to rationalize my feelings, and then I'm acting.
I love that. Tyler, where can people connect with you online and pick up a copy of The Great Work?
I'm on Amazon right now. You can look up The Great Work by Tyler Ray Mitchell. And then I got the book, and I got the audio book. I mean, not the audio book, but the ebook available as well. And you can check me out on Facebook. I'm working on getting some activity going there, and I'm gonna have a landing pad eventually. So.
All right, cool deal. Well, listeners, just in case you need those links, I will have them in the description of this episode and in the show notes. So all you guys have to do is just click those links, and I am happy to share that there will be a part 2 to this, and this one will be on TV, so or not like cable or anything, but you'll be able to watch it on Roku, things like that, YouTube. So that is coming, where we'll have a deeper conversation with some visuals. I'm super excited about that, and I can't wait. And there you have it, the radiant wisdom of Tyler Ray Mitchell. Today we'll explore the real meaning of self-development as a gift. I think it's your duty as a human being, to make the next human being experience with you, your interaction with that human, perfect and special. The merging of mysticism and psychology and lived experience, how healing ourselves heals the world, and the beautiful truth that illumination is within reach for all of us. So make sure to grab a copy of The Great Work and follow Tyler's journey into expanding the light in all of us. Make sure you subscribe to Vigilantes Radio Live, leave us a rating, and share this episode with someone who needs it. Support future episodes, and until next time, keep doing the work, keep carrying the light, and keep believing the great mystery. Thank you so much, Tyler.
Hey, thank you. I'm grateful. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Peace.
Peace.
Peace to all. My name is Deanie, and I am the host of Vigilantes Radio Live. I think that we are beyond just asking cool questions. and getting cool responses. I think that we are here as creatives to provide an example that you can do things different outside of expectations, because some of us simply were not born into the club, but there is perhaps a door, window, or back gate that we can leave a clue for you to get into. Life is short, but there are plenty of moments to try and get it right. Pursuing your dreams and learning from mistakes may be tough, but regret is tougher. To book your interview, email us at vradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. That's a V as in victorious. Or visit onlyonemediagroup.com. I'm counting on you. Heaven, we all are counting on you to step into your purpose and your passion. You are listening to Vigilantes Radio Live on iHeartRadio, providing you with an opportunity to dive deeper.
You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, the people's choice for quality interviews, art, music, and hot topics. Hosted by Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. All episodes of this podcast are available for free download at www.onlyonemediagroup.com.